Hey, welcome back. Today is day 32. Yesterday we did the eyes, we did the drink, and I did a little bit of highlights on the smoke. I saved my paint in the freezer, and as I was explaining yesterday, it stays just as fresh. I'm hoping that, the eyes aren't dry yet, but I kind of messed up on this eye right here. I put the iris a little bit too far north. I need to center it a bit more like this one. So I'm going to try and fix that a bit. Like I said, it's not quite dry, so I'm going to have to be careful with that. Today I'd like to, besides doing that, today I'd like to work on the can and maybe try and tighten that up a little bit. And the joint, maybe try and do the embers too. Because what's left is just the eyes, can, joint, and that's pretty much it. I might do a couple more highlights on the skeleton, but I'm thinking the only thing that the skeleton really needs is just some darkness, just to bring out the light spots. So without further ado, I'm going to grab my paint and get cracking. Let's go. Alright, so I'm looking for the perfect red. This bloody looking red is perfect. When I opened the cap, it wasn't quite unsealed, so I cut it with a razor, and then I noticed that the oil had kind of separated from the paint, so I decided to kind of give it a gentle roll in my hands, and what has happened is that the tube has cracked here on the side, which is unfortunate because this color is very nice, and I don't know how to preserve this short of just putting it all into a jar. I have a jar here which is fairly clean, so I guess that's what I'm going to try and do, is just see, that's just the oil pouring out. But this is a beautiful red. I saw somebody left me a comment about how older paints have toxic ingredients, and I very much appreciate that comment because I completely forgot about that. I was aware that certain old pigments are toxic, but that just completely slipped my mind that some of these paints could very well be quite toxic. And also, not all of them were made in the States, so maybe there were different standards of production. So what I'm saying is, thank you for that heads up. I will definitely be always wearing gloves, and I will be very careful not to eat any of this paint. That looks really cool though, right? Paint murderer, they'll call me. Wow, that looks like gore. So, got my palette here. I'm gonna try and get as much off my hands onto the palette. Just use that. Also, I read a comment today that rags can spontaneously combust. And I thought that was just a myth. So I looked it up, and apparently yes, oily rags, if left in a pile or not folded, can spontaneously combust because of the chemicals they're trying to dry, and if they don't have enough access to air, they will flame up. Also, there's a very strong scent coming from this paint, so we'll get a bit of a breeze going. So thank you for that comment, because that may have just saved my life as well. I don't want my garage to burn down, so I will be very careful to hang my rags before I finish my work day. Alright, let's see, get a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So I'm really pleased with how the eyes are coming out. I like the big bright spots on there. I think that looks quite fun. After looking at it from far away, I always want to add a bit more paint. I definitely like the left eye better. I might cut into that with a bit more green when that dries. We'll see. Alright, so here's that jar of paint. Looks quite good. I think it's called Bulletin Red. Alright, so now I put this little can of Budweiser up here as inspiration for the can. In my mind, the Budweiser can was completely red, and my camera is telling me that I've run out of space. Very nice solid red. That's it for today. The eyeball's looking pretty good. The can is looking bright. It's a very bright can. I kind of like it. I gotta say, I'm a little bit nervous to do the eyeball stalks because I want to do them more in the vein of this magenta color with pink highlights, and I want to make them look shiny, a little bit fleshy, but I don't really know how to do it. So like I said, I'm a little nervous about that. And I still don't know what to do for the background. The more I work on this picture, the more I like how the background contrasts with the rest of the painting. But it looks just so poopy that it needs to be covered with something. It needs some kind of color. I'm leaning towards yellow, but I don't think yellow is the play here. Open to suggestions if you have any insights or any ideas as to what would be a good background color. I'm very open to hear it. Alright, I didn't quite get to that guy. I can put in, I got some stuff on my brush here. Alright, a little bit of embers there. Alright, well, successful day 32. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're finishing it this week. No questions asked. It's gonna be done. And we're gonna move on to some cowboys and some knights and some other fun stuff. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow. How interesting. I'm learning so much.